Mike here with another one of your Radiance spotlights. Now, one of the things that was so exciting about the introduction to the Radiance is the addition of picture play to the machine itself. This is going to allow you to take images, whether they be photographs or clip art or whatever you have, and convert them into embroidery with just a couple of clicks. So let's take a look at how easy it is to kind of play around with this and what features we have available in picture play. So I'm going to go into embroidery, and picture play is found right at the bottom next to our IQ. I'm going to select that, and you'll notice that we have two different icons here. These are the two different methods for bringing in images. So you can bring them in either via USB, or you can also use your IQ Intuition positioning app and bring images in through that as well. I've got a USB already in my machine, so I'm going to touch the USB icon. So I have a few different files on here ready to go, but I actually am going to use my flower. Now, one thing to know is there are limitations to what kind of files you can use when you're using picture play. You've got PNGs, bitmaps, and JPEGs. Those are the three formats that you can use. And the JPEG has to be a JPG, not a JPEG. Okay, so be mindful of that. Also, you're going to have limitations to the size of the image file and the number of colors that are in the image file. For more information on that, check in the back section of your user manual where we have all of our media data that you can go through and see exactly what those limits are. I'm going to go ahead and say set and bring that image over into picture play. And right at the beginning, it's going to allow us to do some sizing and adjusting to the image itself. So right across the bottom, you're going to see very familiar resizing tools, just like we've got in the rest of the machine. They work the exact same way. You're also going to see that we have a reset key. So if you do play around with your size and decide you want to go back to the original, you can just hit reset. I also have a rotation key that's going to rotate my image in increments of 90 degrees. Now across the bottom, I have return. That's going to let me go back to the previous screen. I also have three different editing tools that are going to work for my advantage. One is going to allow me to remove background. The next one is going to allow me to use a frame or a mask so that we're actually kind of putting the picture in a circle or a square shape. And then the last one is going to let me use my actual embroidery hoops as guidelines to what size I want the image to be. So it's kind of a shortcut for using the resizing tools. I'm going to leave my image as it is right now and just go ahead and hit next. And then it's going to take me over to the new screen where I can tell it what kind of picture play we're going to do. Now, you have 12 different variations of picture play. One of them is called original. This is going to be the one that's very similar to photo stitch in palette. That's the one we're going to start off with. And you can see it's right here, already in the little black box, and we're ready to go. So all I'm going to do is hit next. And we're going to give it a few seconds or a few minutes to actually process. Now, this is probably the hardest part about picture play is just being patient. You got to give the machine a little bit of time to do its thing. And just like that, we've converted that image over to embroidery. Now, on this screen itself, you can see we have a lot of different controls that we can play around with. The first one being the maximum number of colors. It's always going to default to 15 colors, but you can go up to 30 colors if you would like. Just keep in mind that every time you add a color, that's another color change. So it's going to take a little bit longer to stitch. At some point, adding more color is not going to really give you a great payoff. So you can play around with your maximum number and decide what's going to work best for the image that you're playing with. Also down the side, you can see that I can choose different thread palettes. I can come in and use my zoom key. I can preview this in a hoop, meaning I can also preview it in a full screen if I want to. I can also come down and adjust my density. Now, adjusting your density is just going to determine how many stitches are in the design. So if I needed it to go up and increase my density, just keep in mind that that's going to add more stitch count to your design. And it could actually result in what we like to call bulletproof embroidery. So just be mindful if you start adjusting your density that you may want to do some test stitching. And since some of these picture plays can take quite a while to stitch out, you may want to try it at the default first and then go from there if you decide you need to change density. On the side, I can also control my colors. So you can go in and pin colors, you can go in and add colors, and you can remove colors. So even though this is an automated process, you still have a lot of control. So once I'm happy with this, you'll notice that at the bottom, I have a memory pocket. Anytime you see a pocket on the Baby Lock machines, it's memory. I can throw this in memory now, or I can just hit set and move it over to embroidery. Now notice I get a little warning and it's telling me that we're leaving the picture play process and we're moving over to embroidery. Are we sure we want to do that? The reason it's asking that is once I leave this picture play process, I cannot come back into it, right? I'd have to start over. So just bear that in mind whenever you're moving over to embroidery. But once I get over to embroidery by hitting OK, it's going to be treated just like a regular embroidery design. If I go into my edit tools, you'll notice that I have all the same editing tools available to me if I had an original design or if I had brought a design in from something that I had purchased. So a lot of possibilities are here. You can add lettering to it. You can add another design to it. Whatever it is that you want to do with that design, you can do it. So as you can see, this is such a fun process and you can create so many fun things. So take some time, play around with this, and I look forward to see what all you make with Picture Play.